Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we've got ourselves a pretty crazy topic on our hands today. A pretty, actually serious topic when it comes to Hoyoverse, when it comes to the way that Hoyoverse treats its employees, and of course, the actual quality of the product that they're pushing out, and the costs that they're paying, the human costs that they're paying to get out all of these subpar games and these subpar updates. Because there's apparently been news that an employee who has worked at Hoyoverse for 5 years actually has passed away from overwork on the 8th day of the Chinese New Year. And so if you're not familiar with what CNY actually means for, well, somebody that works in the region, this is supposed to be like Christmas. This is supposed to be the time where you go back to family, where you go back, meet up with your parents, get the red envelopes, all of that stuff, right? You're supposed to be in a celebratory mood, and it's supposed to be a time of, like, congratulations and stuff like that. Instead, though, of, like, this employee actually, going and spending time with his family, well, it turns out his family had to go to the Hoyoverse office to naturally get an explanation for why their kid is never going to be coming home again. Because it's just absurd, right? That something like this would occur, that something like this would be allowed, and that Hoyoverse, right, apparently, allegedly, is the reason for why this has happened. The deceased employee's family stated Hoyoverse only provided 30K CNY in compensation and erased all records of his employment. 30K CNY is apparently around $4.5 thousand USD. And according to other sources that have been verified, this person mainly worked on Genshin Impact. That's what I've been hearing. And apparently, Hoyo has also claimed that the cause of him passing away was due to personal reasons. And we've got the CN sources from articles over here. And naturally, I have individuals in my community that understand Chinese and that understand the language, and they've been able to double check that this is from a credible source and that this is actually true. And so as you can see over here, the deceased family also arrived at the Shanghai Hoyoverse headquarters, or the Shanghai Hoyoverse office, and he was also the parents' only son, apparently. Hoyoverse is one of the most profitable companies on the planet. Hoyoverse is also one of, like, the biggest companies in China. They have direct relations with, like, the CCP and all of that stuff, right? So it makes a lot of sense that they would be very proud of an individual that's able to get that far, but now they're at the point where they're, like, visiting the office and getting offered, like, pennies in compensation for this incident that has occurred. And I'm gonna be real here. The PR, the developments that are going to come out from this, they don't look particularly good. Especially when you consider the fact that Genshin, in its most recent update, this is what some people are saying about it. I refuse to believe this, because this employee apparently worked on Genshin Impact the most. How are they even overworked when their latest patch for GI, Genshin Impact, has no new map, no Archon quest, no world quest, no events, a recycled character, and no quality of life? It's one of the worst patches in the history of Genshin, content-wise, because it came out during CNY. And so the ask and the question is, how the fuck does somebody even get overworked this much when there's not even anything happening in the game? And that leads to, right, conversations. That leads to theories about what's the work-life balance. Did they just, like, was this guy getting bullied in the office? Is it because they usually do the work of 3 people, which saves a lot of money for the CEO? It makes you wonder, when the output is so awful and the output is so low effort, how is there somebody getting overworked this hard? And it almost makes you think, right? This guy was just tanking abuse from, like, higher-ups, executives, something like that, and they just used him as, like, a scapegoat while the rest of them went on vacation, while the rest of them went back home, and they just dumped all the fucking work on him. That's what it seems like. That's the take that I feel like most people are having because the patch is so fucking bad. And this is the fucked up thing about this. And I'm not rationalizing this or saying that it's okay, that it would be okay if this happened, but I don't think people would be as pissed off, and I don't think people would be, like, as, I guess, like, unforgiving in this circumstance if the patch was actually, like, a feature-rich one. And we're seeing from some other CN sources over here, he didn't pass away in the company building, but at home, working from home very likely. That's what some people are saying. He passed away from overwork at home working from home. I don't think that's an excuse. I don't think that's necessarily something that changes anything, right? But like I said before, if the patch was like actually better, then people would probably be like, oh, like, okay, like maybe it was a bunch of people being overworked then. But in this situation where the patch is a pile of dog shit, and there's nothing actually meaningful or good in it, how is this the price that was paid to release it? And I think that is the question that everyone is having. And it really calls into question the work ethic of the higher-ups, the executives, the management team, how they're treating their employees, the work-life balance, all of that stuff. And naturally, it might lead to an investigation into how this company is treating its employees, an investigation into the workload, and an investigation, obviously, right, into the potential abuse that these employees are receiving. I guess it's like two peas in a pod, right? You know, you have Hoyo-affiliated creators like Mr. Pokey with allegations of editor abuse. Now you have Hoyo itself with allegations of employee abuse. It's like, again, like two peas in a pod. It's not very surprising how all of this stuff gets bundled together, right? And so, apparently, there's also been multiple people passing away from overwork, and it's hard to change it. And there's something about, like, Confucian pressures, principles, all of that. You can see over here, though, that the community, XJJ, MiHoYo players, right, that are dedicated to furthering the cause of these amazing gacha games, right? Did you want 1 million CNY? Remember, guys, the compensation for the employee passing away was 4.5k USD. That's not really that much. I don't personally think 4.5k USD as compensation to the parents for their child passing away from overwork. I don't think that's very... And you have people like joking about how, oh, you want 1 million instead? This isn't MiHoYo's fault. Working at Hoyoverse isn't hard. MiHoYo is pitiful. They got dragged into it even though it has nothing to do with them. Yeah, that's why they paid out to the parents, totally. And this is only happening just because Hoyo is famous. The victim's family is even implying it's MiHoYo's fault. That's disgusting. It's just trivial. All I see is that the victim's family only wants money. No, I think they want their kid back for Chinese New Year. Yeah, I think that's what... I don't think the parents are even focused on money right now. I think they're focused on the fact that their child is never going to come back home. That's their only child, by the way. And I'm going to be real. They look kind of fucking old to me. Yeah, these guys look pretty old to me. I don't think they're going to go again. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. They look like they're in their 60s, maybe even their 70s. And let's be real here, right? During a time of literal celebrations and all of that, these are some of the most heartless, ridiculous, and absurd comments I think we'll ever see in the gacha space. And so this is why, ladies and gentlemen, people always talk about the toxicity of the Hoyoverse community. There's a reason why they're known as the most toxic community on the fucking internet. Because where else would you see a response like this where people are putting like clown emojis and shit like that and like crying emojis and all of that when like 50, 60, 70-year-old parents just lost their only kid due to overwork working for Hoyoverse? Allegedly. But then again, it's kind of easy to confirm that right when Hoyoverse is on the record paying them the fuck out. And there are many Hoyoshill posts that are still looking to defame the victims even further. And there's just a link for that over here on Xiaohongshu, which is kind of like the Chinese version of TikTok. And of course, people in EN are saying, and we've already looked at this one over here, people in EN are saying that they don't actually believe that this is happening at all. And I think what's clear, right, is that this is a track record that we're likely going to be seeing spread across the rest of the Hoyoverse space. I wouldn't be surprised at all to hear more news about this, because what's clear is that these incidents are occurring, these tragedies are happening, when the games themselves aren't even producing anything groundbreaking, noteworthy, or impressive. They're on their filler patches. They're on like their low effort, not really cash grab, just like low effort patches to just like get through to the next version because it's the holidays and they managed to fuck it up this bad. And this is the thing. They have fucked up everything in all of their games for the past like 3 fucking months. Everything is bad. In HSR 4.0, these guys were too lazy to render the inside of a fucking building. And so, they just slapped a fucking PNG on here, bro. There are people at this company allegedly passing away from overwork while they slap PNGs inside of buildings because they can't render out the objects. How absurd is it to see news that somebody is passing away from overwork when this is what's in their fucking games? Does that even, like, make even a little bit of sense? Does it make any fucking sense at all for this to happen? And the answer is no, it does not. It's insane. And it's absolutely absurd that conversations, accusations, stuff like that are even happening in the first place. Bro, all of these games are going downhill. All of these games look like low effort slop. They look like they're managed by skeleton teams at the moment. Skeleton crews, right? Way less resources, way less budget than they should have. And now it looks like individual employees are starting to pay the price for this absolute lack of budgeting, lack of management, lack of oversight, right? Or lack of, like, fucking supervision that seems to be happening internally over here. Brother, have you ever seen a multi-billion-dollar company like this, right? With this many issues, and then products that actually look like this? Did you even read my message? No, you never sent one. Unfucking real. That shit like this is happening in the big 2026. And remember, it's only 2 months into 2026. And we're still kind of in the middle of Chinese New Year. It's over, right? Brother, what's even going on? Because you know for a fact, this game is doing some dog shit too, bro. Remember when ZZZ in version 2.5 was supposed to save the game? Oh yeah, Yi Shungite, right? You got good old Yi Shungite, the new Void Hunter. Oh, this is gonna change everything. It dropped down to 400 viewers on the Yi Shungite patch. Then they decided, hey, we're gonna go full delusion mode. And now you're back over here. All of these games feel like they're getting managed by AI. Like, literally, it feels like ChatGPT or like Grok or something is deciding how these games get fucking developed. In what universe do you have all 3 of your flagship products crashing into the fucking ground, bro? Crashing right down to fucking earth, looking like the biggest pile of shit. Bro, just look at, like, obviously, you can probably understand that Honkai Star Rail is gonna look like shit, even though its 4.0 update just released. What are we even doing here, bro? And remember, the patch before 4.0, guys, was Honkai Star Rail 3.8. Bro, that was the viewership during 3.8. They go from failure to failure to failure. At least you would hope that the employees aren't working hard if they're failing this much. But no, they're just failing and the employees are getting overworked at the same time. This is just pathetic. I don't even know what to say. It's just pathetic optically that this company feels so mismanaged, so unable to, like, have a vision for actually how to succeed now that there's actually competition in the space. And I think it becomes even more clear that Hoyoverse is, like, scrambling. They're really poorly planning their next few steps because they're panicking. And now the employees are paying the price because I don't think Hoyoverse has ever had this much competition before. They've got Wuthering Waves 3.1, the best story in gacha, breathing down their fucking neck. They've got Enfield, where the game has potential, but it looks like the Enfield's management team is arguably worse than Hoyoverse's. But the threat of Enfield and them actually just relaunching the game and actually fixing it in 1.1 also has to have Hoyoverse panicking. Guess what Enfield's developed on? Unity, bro, and it looks like 30 times better than all this dog shit product that Hoyoverse is pushing out, so they're getting, like, made fun of because they keep saying Unity is the reason why Genshin still looks like shit. But then Enfield is on Unity, it just looks better, right? I can see what's going on here. There's a lot of pressure on Hoyoverse to perform, and that pressure is likely affecting its employees, and that pressure is likely going to cause a lot more problems down the road. Because why the fuck wouldn't Hoyo keep panicking when this is what 4.0 looks like, bro? Compared to what this game used to be. And the crazy thing is, guys, Honkai Star Rail doesn't even have competitors because it's a turn-based game, but people just realized it was ran into the fucking ground by some of the worst devs in gacha history. Like, this game doesn't even have competition because there aren't other turn-based games and it's still going down. How do you even do that? How do you fuck up that bad? No competition and you still manage to fail. And remember, all the spending events. Remember the 2.7 spending event in this game? The Fate Collab spending event in this game? The Caster spending event in this game? ZZZ 2.5 spending event? How about you take that money and, I don't know, hire some fucking employees so that one guy doesn't get overworked maintaining these fucking games as you send them downhill? Guys, the optics are insane. Look at this dog shit from Genshin. They didn't want to animate Liquid, so they just zoom in on this. Yeah, that was too much work to show the creation of the drink. Yeah, it's too much work to show that, right? Bro, how are people passing away from overwork when this is what you put in the game? How do people pass away from overwork when you're this lazy with the animations in the game? Billion-dollar company, by the way. Billion-dollar company that operates like one that pays its employees with like fucking $5 in a Slim Jim every hour. Skeleton crew. Where's everybody else? Where's everybody else? Is this office just full of is this office over here just full of fucking paycheck stealing thieves? I just had to assume that, right? This was the guy actually doing the work. Everyone else at this company is just a paycheck stealing fucking thief, bro. Paycheck stealing bums. Who's even working? What are they? Who's even working? Is there anyone even working on these fucking games? This shit is pathetic, bro. Then again, they did have those embezzlement charges as well from back in the day. Yeah, we made a video on that one. Hey, everything's coming together now. These guys are a mess. And remember, guys, the patch right before this Varka one, they released Columbina. And literally, Columbina has the worst animations probably in Hoyoverse history. Their new Archon equivalent unit has animations that literally look like a fucking Wuthering Waves 1 cost Echo. That's her kit. That's her fucking basic attack animation, bro. They're putting this shit in the game. Then they release the Varka patch where there's nothing in it directly afterwards. How are you even doing this? Bro, this game looks like it has half the budget that it had like 2 or 3 years ago. I don't think anyone can even dispute that. It literally looks like the budget got cut in half for some godforsaken reason. And then you're getting news like this. What is even going on? This is so pathetic, it's unreal. Not the fact that this guy, you know, passed away from overwork. It's the conditions, the management, the directing that allowed that to even happen in the first place. Legitimately, the most pathetic multi-billion-dollar company, I think, on the planet. And I don't think there's any way anyone can dispute that after all the recent news you've seen. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out.